cabinet meetings appear, according to your statement and the material that we've seen, to have been, to some extent, scripted. But insofar as cabinet committee meetings were concerned, they were very largely scripted. Ministers were given scripts to read out. Bullet points were written by officials who would exchange them in advance. And the conclusions were largely scripted in advance. Is that a fair summary of cabinet committee meetings?
It is. Obviously not always, and obviously there are exceptions, and there are some people who chaired cabinet committee meetings who did an extremely good job. So I'm not claiming that this is universal. I'm saying that it was a general feature, and it was much more often true than not.
You refer in your statement to cabinet and cabinet committee meetings being Potemkin meetings. What did you mean by that?
They were Potemkin in the sense that they were for show, as part of the sort of show of the Constitution. That, unfortunately, a large part of how the system works is that ministers parade up Downing Street, the cameras click, people act like cabinet is actually deciding things, but everyone behind the number 10 door actually near power knows that that's very rarely actually what's going on. That usually what's happening is that senior officials have actually decided what's happening, and the ministerial performance is often / usually a performance. Of course, that changes according to historical situations and crises, and sometimes cabinet, even in 2019, 2020, became genuinely important. But I'm just trying to give a general picture.
On the cusp of the coronavirus pandemic, where was power exercised? Where was the effective decision making?
By cusp, where do you mean, sorry?
January, February.
Well, it certainly wasn't in cabinet.
Where was it?
Well, most power really is nominally in the hands of the Prime Minister, and to a very large extent in the hands of the Cabinet Office. I would say the Cabinet Secretary is something like 10 times or 100 times more powerful than anybody else in the Cabinet, apart from the Prime Minister. All sorts of elements of real power actually now in our system answer to him, but a large part of the performance and the media coverage is aimed at trying to cover up this fact and to try and portray the ministers as actually in charge.
This is something which people just don't really realise. And it's part of like how the whole system has become fake. So you have fake meritocracy, fake responsibility, and then fake cabinet government. But it's all nonsense. The cabinet is just a kind of stage theatre. And actually officials in the cabinet office have already decided it all. When you sit in Whitehall now, right, in meetings, they are literally scripted. So when the Prime Minister has a meeting with ministers, what happens is that before the Prime Minister has that meeting, officials go into the Prime Minister's study and they give him a folder. And in the folder at the front is a thing called Chairman's Notes. And that's the script. And that's what the Prime Minister reads out. And the conclusions for the meeting are in the Chairman's Notes, drafted before the meeting happens, right? And it sounds like a parody, but it is literally how the British state functions.